Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, yes. So what we'll do is we'll take this blank report. Okay. So we'll start, I'll just save my file. I can just save it to my device. Here, I can just save here as sales analysis and click on save. Okay. So initially, how do we extract the data? Let us go to transform data. Okay. This is our Power Query. I'll take an Excel workbook where I have some sales data. Okay. I'll just select the workbook, click on open. Here we have multiple, different information, or you could say data, right? I'll just, we can get the preview so that we can choose whatever we want. So here, if I could notice, here we have certain data. Okay. So we have around 6 tables. In order to get the names, what I'll do is I'll just choose it here from here. Here we have sales
Excuse me,
data.
sir.
Yes, yes.
Sir, screen is not visible, is not clear, sir.
How about you? Are you? How about
Uh,
others?
no, it's fine.
Okay, Ravgendra, could you could rejoin so that it would be visible. Okay, so I hope my is my Power Query editor visible?
Yeah.
Okay, so here what I can do is I can just okay, Raghavendra, is it visible now?
Is not visible, sir. Is not clear.
How about other two people? Janardhan, is it visible for you?
Yes, yes, it is visible. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible too.
One quick question: is this part of a regular training or is this introduction lectures?
It is, some part of free webinars which we conduct occasionally, right?
Okay,
Or bi-weekly, or whenever it is possible.
okay. And how are the plans for trainings? Like, just for my understanding.
Okay, so we offer, data analyst training, which includes Power BI, SQL, and ADF. These three tools we teach around, 65 plus live sessions for around, the fees of around 15K.
Okay.
Okay,
SQL, Power BI, and
and ADF,
ADF. That is Active Directory,
Azure Data Factory.
Azure Data Factory. Sorry.
Yes, yes. The reason is only Power BI and SQL also these days, it is quite challenging to get. So
Yeah,
additionally,
correct. Only
additionally,
this.
additionally, some if there is some integration tool, knowledge, at least they can diversify themselves into other roles.
Yeah, as well as some cloud touch base.
Gradually they'll be able to get into cloud later on when they equip themselves with Azure.
Okay. Okay, I'm just for uh, I'm from the Tableau side actually,
Okay,
Tableau
okay,
and SQL and these things actually more mainly. So it is since 2014 I'm working on Tableau. Before that, working on other reporting, dashboarding, visualization expertise there. So
great,
just
great.
I saw this note in our group, so thought of first have a clarity how this trace training is about. Like,
Yes, yes.
okay,
Okay,
thank you.
let us continue with this session. If you are interested in any of those, you can even we offer Azure Data Engineering and Snowflake Data Engineering, these things.
Yeah, here
For yes,
here
yes.
in that yeah. So one second, just going to my WhatsApp page here. There Snowflake data engineering also mentioned. If you can just give a quick
uh,
insight on that
once yes, yes, I understand, but kindly, for additional information, reach out to the admin.
admin. Okay,
Yes, yes, they'll help you out with everything, right?
okay, fine, fine. Yeah, because I was on the Snowflake some labs
Because
only
that
right now, but I
yes,
saw that message and thought of joining. So please
yes, yes,
continue. Sure.
they are like that is dealt by the other trainer who is around 10 years experienced in the industry.
Okay.
So you could, they'll help you out with the information. Okay,
Who is the right person in terms of I mean from admin team?
you can contact Sai Karthika.
Fine. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So here, okay, let us start with transform data, and we can understand we'll get a new source and click on Excel workbook. We have an Excel sheet where we can load the data, click on open, and here we have multiple tables and sheets which may be similar. Okay, what we shall do is we can see the preview and choose the right one. If we see this sales data, we can, once we check it, we can load it to the Power Query. We can load this product table. We can load this subcategory table. We have this promotion table, and we have this state. We have this channel, right? And again, the sales data, it is repeated because we already have it, but this is another way, another form of representation. But we can load these 6 important tables or 6 available tables from this Excel sheet. I'll click on OK, and those tables will be loaded into our Power Query, right? And we shall see if there are any necessary transformations, and then we shall move on to the further things. What we can do is we can click on this column profiling, change it to the entire data set, right? We have order ID, order date.
Hello.
We can change it to the data type called date. Yes, Janardhan, please.
One quick question here only. So is this in Power BI desktop app or Power BI service we are
Power
using?
Power BI has its own tool for cleaning the data, which is called Power Query.
Power
Just like
Query.
just like Excel has Power Query, Power BI also has Power Query embedded in it. Just like Tableau has Prep Builder, right, to clean the
Right.
data.
Right.
Just like that, it has internally embedded tool which is called Power BI, Power Query Editor. Okay,
So
so
the Power Query editor inside the Power BI desktop only, right?
yes.
Okay.
So that is what I have shown you. Here we just get into the Power, transform data.
Transfer that. Okay.
So here you could understand, okay, I have just changed the data type of order date to date by just selecting the date from here. This is our cost column. We have price column, right? Order quantity, sales, and some foreign keys which are related to this table like channel, promotion, product, and other keys which can, you know, join the other tables, right? If we move on to the other table, here we can see that there are several rows related to product. I can just click on this column profiling of the entire data set. You can see that we have multiple products, right? So in on the top you can see that there are no nulls. There are around 1690 distinct values, right? If we move on to this other table, which is product subcategory, we have only around 22 subcategory values, right? In order to remove the other null values in the bottom, we can just click on this remove rows and remove blank rows here. What it does is it does help us to make unique values in this particular table. We can go to this promotion table. We can see there are only 10 values. We just like before, we can click on remove rows and remove blank rows, right? And similarly, we have state where if you see this bottom, we have nulls. Similarly, we can click on this and remove blank rows. So we have around 37 values. We have something called sales channel where you know where you have 4 different values related to sales channel. I just make it as only sales channel, right? So these are 6 different tables with different information related to sales data, right? Which is already normalized, which could help us in directly, and performing data model and data visualization and other things. So once we load this data here into the Power BI desktop, we can go to the model view, it, and if I just try to minimize, you could see that there are this is our star schema where multiple tables are connected as one to many relationship, right? So here you could see this thing where we have other dimension tables and where we have this fact table, right? And also if we could notice, we have date related information in the sales data. If I go to the table view, if I could see the sales data, you can see this order date which is present over here. You can just even change it to short date, not a problem. But you could see this, we have date related information, right? And to utilize time intelligence functions, we would require something called as calendar table, right? We need some continuous dates which are present so that we could analyze the time related, or you could say date related information appropriately. So to create the table, what we can do is we can just click on this new table, right? I can just write table called calendar, which is equal to, right? So this calendar is equal to, we have calendar function where the start date, I'll take it as minimum of order date, and the end date, I'll take it as maximum of order date, so that it could dynamically make our calendar table. Right. As soon as I make our calendar table, in the table view, you can see that we have these dates. I'll select the date column, change it to date data type. Right. I can change the format to the short date to keep it short and understandable. Right. So related to date table, we can make some calculations. So before that, what you need to do is select the calendar, click on this mark as date table and just choose the date and validate it. You can click on save. Why do we do this is once we assign, or you could say mark as date table, it will remove all the local tables that it automatically generates behind the scenes, right? So that in order to improve its efficiency or like performance, you should mark the date table, right? You can click on new column. Let us add few columns. For example, if I want year, I can type year is equal to year in brackets. We can parenthesis. We can bring that calendar date column, right? So that we can extract date from this year from this date column. For additional columns, I can click on new column. I'll bring month, which where I can have this month function from calendar date. I can click on new column, right? Suppose if I want month name, I can write format and I'll bring this calendar date. In this particular format, I can write MMM, right? 3 times M, so that you can bring that month name in 3 alphabets. I can click on this new column. I can bring something called as month year, so that you can see that month year appropriately. I can bring the calendar date, put a comma, month and year, right? If you want a space in between, you can put that, and you can just put the double quotes and hit enter. You'll be able to see the month year appropriately. And to sort it out, what we can do is we can write something like year month column, where we can use the format again. We can use a calendar date, put a comma. I can bring that year and M 2 times if we mention, we'll get the month in digits, right? So to sort this, what you can do is you can select this month year column and sort by column. You can just select this year month column, right? So that it sorts that particular month year by year month. Additionally, we can make multiple calendar related columns. For example, if we want a week number, we can write week number, right? I can bring that calendar date. Suppose if the day starts from Monday, you can just choose this particular 11 number, right? Close the parenthesis and hit enter, so that we can get that week number. Once I get back to my model view, you can see that we have this calendar table, right? So this calendar table date related column, we can relate it something to the column which is present in sales data. The column is order date. I can relate it. You can see that we have order date selected. We have one to many relationship. Let us click on save. Now that particular relationship is active, right? In this way, you could understand we have something called as star schema, where we have all the dimension tables with one fact table in between, right? So this is how we can just try to clean some data, right? Bring the multiple tables, create some calendar table if we have some date related information, right? And you can just try to see here whatever the tables are available, right? I can go to the report view. Okay, so before visualizing, all what we need to do is we need to like perform some calculations, right? So to perform some calculations, we need something called as DAX. So DAX is nothing but data analysis expressions, where we use several functions in order to get all the calculations what we require, right? For example, if I just could, in order to create some measures, always it is a good practice to, create a new table. Okay, what I'll do is I'll click on this enter, enter a table. I'll just name it as something called measure table. I'll click on load. So here in the bottom, you can see this. This is my measure table. I can click on the table, click on new measure. So just to understand some basic calculations, I have shown you the data. So some basic calculations, what I can do is I can write something called total sales is equal to sum of sales data table sales column, right? Sales is the aggregation data of sales, right? So similarly, if we want something related to cost, what I can do is I can write total cost is equal to sum of cost related column, right? We are able to create that measure. I'll create one more measure. Suppose if I want total profit is equal to, we have something related to sales minus we have something related to cost. I can hit enter. So we have this profit measure. Suppose I want to calculate profit margin. So I can write something like profit margin percentage. You can write something related to total profit, right? Divided by total sales, right? We can change that into percentage. Initially, we can do this so that we can get appropriate calculations. I'll show you how to change the format, not a problem. We can create new measure. Suppose I wanted to calculate sales of last year. So what I can do is I can calculate total sales, put a comma. In the filter argument, I can use date time intelligence function called date add. So I can use the calendar date within dates. Intervals I can put -1 and interval I can put year. Close the parenthesis and hit enter. Right. Similarly, I can create new measure where I can calculate profit last year. Right. I can write something like calculate. Similarly, we can calculate this total profit, put a comma, write this data add function where we can just calculate it to the previous year, put -1 and year interval, right? So this gives us the profit last year. So additionally, suppose if you want to calculate sales year on year percentage, so I'll write sales year on year percentage. So here I can create a variable. I can get this previous year, right? Previous year values. I can write something like calculate total sales, put a comma, date add. Just like we have did it earlier, we need to put the same because we are trying to calculate the similar output, right? And here I'll create one more variable. I'll call it as result. Here I can write something called divide total sales minus previous year sales divided by previous year, right? If these both values are not working, you could understand that we can bring something called blank, right? And now what we can do in the return class, we can just give the output of result, right? So this is how you can write this previous year calculation of time intelligence using calculate, divide it for calculating the sales year on year growth, right? Percentage. So I'll just copy this. Just like sales year on year, we can create new measure in order to write something related to profit. So all I need to do is I can change it to profit year on year, and here instead of total sales, you can take this total profit, and here also you can take this total profit. Okay, I'll just commit so that okay, this is our profit year on year growth, right? So in order to get some icon, what we can do is we can just uh, create some icon, okay, using uniquear functions. We'll see that what we shall do is we shall try to make some formatting related to this particular canvas, right? So if I just click on this format, canvas settings, keep it middle so that you can see the whole canvas. Now let us go to canvas background. Maybe we can bring it little, little grayish background like this, right? So here what I can do is I can include the text box mentioning the heading, just like I can mention something like sales analysis report. I can just make it little darker, make it into other color, increase the size, maybe 32. And if you want to turn off the background, you can just select this, turn off the background, right? So this could be our sales analysis report, right? Now let us bring some KPIs, whatever we have created using the measures. For example, what I'll do is I'll just bring in something called new card, where you can bring some total sales related information, right? So here what I'll do is I'll bring this total sales. You can just bring this here, total sales, and you can see that total sales is around 23.80 million. I can go to format, call out values. You can just reduce it to the maybe size of 30, right? And here what we can do is if you have some additional information like related to images and all those things, you can bring it. Again, like icons or images, you can bring it. I'll just leave it for your formatting. Some important things I'll bring it over here, right? You can click on reference labels. For example, if I want sales of last year, I can select that. If I want sales YOY percentage, I can select that, right? I can select the sales YOY percentage and click on this formatting. It will show me that particular 39.25%, right? If we see this particular value, we don't have the separation value over here. In order to make that, what do we need to do is here you can select this sales LY. You can change this to custom name, and here you can just put some colon over here, right? Automatically you can see that the value changes over here. You can bold it so that you can see that they are highlighted, right? And you can change the color as well, right? Similarly, you can just change this particular sales YOY percentage, and you can just select the custom name, change this particular color, and you can just put a colon here and hit enter, and you can bold it, right? So this is how you can change that particular values, right? Next thing is, if at all you want to customize that particular total sales, you can just click on this call out values. Instead of this color, you can change it to some different color, right? So in this way, you can just try to change that all the values which are present, okay? And similarly, if you want to change this particular card to some other shape, you can just put on this rounded rectangle, and you can just round the corners as well. So this could give you that particular rounded look. And if you want to turn off the background, you can turn off the background. You can just get a good look like this, right? Rounded look. Similarly, you can just customize your KPIs accordingly based upon the values, right? So what I'll do is just like this, I can just bring one more visual related to profit related information, right? So what I can do is instead of total sales, I can bring this total profit. I can go to this particular something called as reference labels. I can click on this. I can bring this profit of last year, and also profit of year on year growth to here, right? And just like that, we can format few things, right? So we can just go to this particular customization related to call out values. Okay, so this thing it is fine. Next, if we could scroll down, reference labels, you can select the particular profit ly, custom name. You can just put a colon here and you can bold it. I can just select this color, right? Similarly, I can just change this to YOY, custom name. You can just put the colon, right? Bold it. I can just select this, right? And similarly, you could just change the other colors if at all you require. Here you can see this percentage is 0.39. All you need to do is you can select this percentage YOY, click on this percentage, it will change to the appropriate value, right? So in this way, you can just customize your KPI so that it would give us appropriate values. Now, in order to bring some icon, okay, so what we can do is we can create an icon accordingly, right? So here, let us create some icon using measure. I can just create a new measure. Here, we shall try to bring some icon. So what I'll do is I'll write sales icon. It is equal to, I'll create a variable. Suppose if I want positive icon, I can write positive icon, positive underscore icon, right? Here I can use something called unichar where we have a particular number for it. Suppose for it is, it is something related to 9650. Okay, so this is a unique code value where by converting into unichar, you can get that particular symbol. Okay, I'll show you just after writing this one. Suppose if I want negative icon, so you can just Google it. You can get that particular number of characters, different characters. Here we can use the code something called 9660. Okay, suppose here I'll create a variable called result. I'll give a condition. All right, if my sales year on year percentage it is greater than 0, so I want positive icon, otherwise give me negative icon, right? Condition is very simple. What do you need to return? Only this particular result output, right? If you see here, I just brought my unique character, right, in the positive icon variable, unique character in negative icon variable. In the result, I have just given a condition. If my sales year on year percentage growth is, if it is greater than 0, give me positive one, otherwise give me negative one, right? Similarly, what we can do is we can just copy this and create something related to profit icon also, right? So I can just click on new measure, right? Let me change it to profit icon. And here all what we need to change is something called profit YOY. Okay, so you could see that we have particular sales related icon and profit related icon. Let me bring some those icons into text card, right? If I bring that particular icon into text card, you can see this particular icon symbol. I don't want category label, and this size also I'll reduce it to 20, right? I don't want background, I can turn off this background. So you can see this is a small icon, right, where you can see where you can put it over here. Now we don't have the color for this, but you can assign a color. But meanwhile, what I'll do is I'll copy that particular icon, and here instead of sales icon, what I'll do is I'll just bring something called profit icon, right? It would be the similar thing. Now for you to show an example, how does it change the color? Or okay, to bring that color, what you can do is you can create one more measure. I'll create new measure. I'll write something called sales icon color. Right. If my year on year growth, if it is greater than 0, give me green color. Otherwise, give me red color. Right. I'll close the parenthesis. Just like this, you can just take that particular thing. Create a new measure. Just like sales icon color, we can make something called profit icon color. So we have, if my profit year on year growth if it is greater than 0, then what do you want? I want green color. Otherwise, what do you want? I want red color. Right. All what I need to do is I can select this particular icon. I can go to formatting. In the callout value, I can see this, click on color. You can choose the respective measure, which is sales icon color. And if it is green, then give me green color. Right. And again, you can click on new value. If it is red, you can take that particular red value, right? Any red value, you can take it. So this red value, I'll copy it so that, or else we can just put it randomly, not a problem. It is always good to note that hex codes, right? So I can just put that notepad. So in this notepad, I can just put this as red color, right? We'll try to use the same colors for other. I'll just click on OK, right? Now you can see the green color, right? So I can just click on here, click on FX. So if it is green, okay, so we can choose that particular measure, which is profit icon color. If it is green, you can just put this particular color of green. And if it is something called red, you can just put something like this, which is red value. You can click OK. Okay, now based upon the year, if you check, these values will change. For example, let me take a slicer and let me take particular year column where I can just choose it just like a tile. I'll just turn off the background so that it won't trouble. If I just click on this particular 2011 or 12, 11 we don't have the previous year values, so it will be blank. 12, if you see this, you are able to get that percentages. If I click on 13, you can see that how we are able to get, right? This is 14. So in this formatting of this particular YOY percentage, you can just decrease one decimal, and also this sales SOY, you can decrease one decimal, right? So that we are able to get that appropriate values, right? So in this way, you can just see whether they are increasing or decreasing accordingly. Okay, so I hope it is understandable. Now let us understand few more, KPIs which are more relevant. I can just drag and drop this particular slicer over here, right? Now let us understand few more KPI visuals. So for example, I can bring my, if I wanted to calculate total order quantity, I can calculate total quantity is equal to sum of order quantity. Suppose I want total number of products. Total products. We can take this sales product key, right? So that we get total number of products. So here we can bring the total profit margin, right? So let us create something called profit margin percentage, which we have already calculated. Let us bring into text card, right? I can select this and I can just click on this percentage. You can see that we have around 92.16 percentage. And all you need to do is you need to little customize, turn off the label, turn on the title. You can just mention here profit margin percentage, and you can just click on this particular values, right? And here this particular values you can check on that. You can just make it 25. Okay, so here you can just put like this, and you can just turn on this, turn off the background. Okay, title, what you can do is you can just turn on the title, background color you can put this, text color you can put this, and you can just try to bring some visual border. I can round it like this. So you can just keep it like this, which looks neat and clean and simple, right? Just like that. Or else if you don't find it good, you can just customize the title, right? Just like in a simple way, right? So what we can do is I can just copy this. Here I can just put something called order quantity. So just like this, we can put one more relevant KPI, which is called total products, right? So here we can arrange these things maybe like left or right, however you want. Depending on the requirement, you can just adjust the things to little, respectively to show up appropriately. Right. We have still enough space. All what we can do is we can bring some slicers as well. So for example, I'll bring some slicer called as state. Okay. So that you can filter the data relevant to state also. So here, if we can see this particular tables, we have sales state. Let us select the state particular column, go to data category, make sure that you choose state. Now you can drag and drop that particular state, and here you can just try to go to format, make it as a drop down, and you can turn off the background. In order to highlight that particular selection, what you can do is you can just go to values. Now here you can turn on some background like white, right? And this might give you some understanding about that this is a slicer, right? And little bigger you can make it. So these are few things where you can just deal with KPIs, and then gradually you'll be able to figure out other things. So far, whatever we have discussed, is it understandable, everyone? Janardhan, Chaitanya, Arun, Raghavendra.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes. Great. Okay. Let us move ahead and then create some visualizations which could be useful so that you could utilize the data how to represent. For example, let us create a line chart. Okay. So here in this line chart, let us bring something called as month year from calendar into my x-axis, and from the measure table I'll bring something called total sales into the y-axis. Okay, so we have respective values from December 2011 in ascending order till December 2014, right? What I can do is in formatting, I can just try to turn off the background, right? And also I can turn off the y-axis title, and also in this particular title I can just align it to the center aligned. So this is total sales by month year, right? If you want some markers, you can just put some markers, put some data labels. If you want to customize the data labels, you can just go to the values and you can change the display units to even thousands, right? So thousands also do make sense, little bit more. And decimals, you can just put 0 decimals so that it is little more appropriate. And in y-axis, since the values are in thousands, y-axis also I should make it into thousands, right? So go to values and you can just make it as thousands. You can see that it is 0 to 1000k, right? It is nearly 1 million, right? So this is how you can just create some month year values, right? And suppose if you want to create some weekly values, we have week num column, right? Suppose I'll take a column chart, and here what I can do is I can just try to bring some week number from column, calendar table into x-axis, and I can bring this total sales into y-axis, right? We have this particular visual. All what we can do is we can just go to size and style, turn off the background, go to y-axis, turn off title, and go to values, change it into thousands. And then what we shall do is we shall go to data labels, turn it on, right? So in this way, you can just try to customize. If you want to customize colors, you can go to colors. I'll make it some darker color so that it visibles, it will be visible little darker and better. Lines, and you can go to color and you can just change the color. Right. In this way, you can just try to understand how to create that particular monthly and weekly sales. Right. Again, I can just try to middle align this title. Now, if we see this, we have around weekly sales and this thing. What we can do is we can just try to study and understand further by relating it to something called as brand, or you could say product name. Or what we can do is we can get some top 10 products information and its sales according to the order quantity and total sales. So here what we can do is I'll just copy this visual, and here what I'll do is I'll just bring a particular table visual. Okay, I need only few columns. For example, from the product table, I want product name. Okay, so here I can remove this particular product name. I can bring it into it, right? And also we can have that particular total quantity, total profit, and also total cost. Okay, suppose you need to little customize it, or you could say format it. Go to title, or you could say go to format. In style presets, keep it minimal. Okay, and if you want to customize it little more, totals, you can turn it off, or else if you want you can keep it, but okay, let us keep it. Next, here you could see that Okay, as far as possible in any visual, what you should do is you should try to avoid that particular thing. Which one? Just to try to avoid the scroll bar. Okay, so here we need to get that particular top 10 values. So what I can do is I can just try to go to format, size and style. Okay, so I can go to the column headers, and here what I can do is I can just put the text color to blue and background as white. So here you can just try to understand this particular thing, where you can just try to bring that specific column, sales, right? Apply to values, background color. You can just put it this one. You can just bring those colors to that one, right? Next, similarly, you can just put it for all things, right? The similar color, you can just get it. And for other columns, you can just put it little better. For example, if we want something related to values, you can just bold it, right? Column headers, text, you can bold it. And I hope here we have this particular table, right? Let us go to filters, click on product name, select top n. Here I want top 10 products, so I'll enter top 10. Here in this particular by value, I can bring total sales and click on apply filter, right? So this is how we can get the top 10 products and their respective total sales, cost, quantity, and total profit. And in order to get some understanding, what you can do is you can just put some header, right? You can put some title mentioning that it is top 10 products. Okay, I hope it is understandable, where we are able to understand that weekly sales, monthly sales, as well as top 10 products related information based upon total sales, cost, quantity, and profit, right? So let us move ahead and understand few more things. So these things where you could understand, I can just slice it by year, slice it by state, or if you want to view for some particular region of data, you can just bring those particular visuals, or you can bring that hierarchy and use it here, not a problem, right? I'll leave this space for navigation purpose. Which I'll show you in a while. So this is how we can bring some data in neat and clean format. I can just click on this new page. So I'll just rename this as sales, and I'll just rename this as something called a region related thing, right? Or you can just call it as regional analysis, and you could say sales performance analysis. Okay, so this region analysis here, okay, what I'll do is, in order to make it little simpler, I can duplicate that, right? And I'll just delete this page, not a problem. So here we can just try to select this particular thing, sales performance analysis. I can remove this. So here, let me remove the visualizations. Okay, the other KPIs, I'll leave it like that, so that it does not, it is not a problem. Let us bring, we have some information related to, geospatial information, right? So let me bring a map which could help us. I'll select a normal map. So where you can just put that particular state into location, right? And also total sales into our measure. Or you can say this particular thing, which is bubble size. So here we have many states which has more number of sales. Suppose I want only top 5 sales, I can just click on top N. I want only top 5 states, bring on this particular total sales and apply filter, right? So these are 5 top sales which are with respect to that particular region. I can turn off title, right? And if I want, I can turn off labels also so that you could identify. If you want heat map, you can get that, but bubbles are good enough to identify, right? So this is how you could understand, you can customize it. In map settings, we can just choose this gray scale so that it appears more better. And the bubbles, you can change the colors as well. Default color, I can change it to little darker, right? So in this way, you can customize your additional map.
Hello.
Yes, yes, please.
Yeah, can we change, keep the size or maintain the size as per the total size of bubble actually? Like we have top five, so can we have different sizes as per the total sales or that
Actually,
measure?
they are of different sizes only. The issue is the values
Oh,
are very, very nearby.
yeah, yeah. Okay, okay.
Okay, if you want to make it distinct, then maybe, or you could say if you want more information, you can just bring all those information in tooltips, right? So that you can just bring that relevant information here. Now what happens is if you just hover on this, you'll get all the information appropriately, right? So sometimes few visuals, even if you just put it in bar chart or anything, still you'll be getting some very, very close values. So won't be able to, it won't be able to help us much.
Yeah,
In
got it.
otherwise in legend, maybe we can put that state if possible. You can get some different colors, right? Just like this. I hope if it works for you, you can do like this. Next, what we shall do is we shall bring few more visuals where I can just try to relate something with respect to promotion name. For example, I'll bring a bar chart. I can click on this promotion name into y-axis, bring the total sales into x-axis. Right, I can go to format, turn off the title, turn off the background. Right, I can go to colors, bars, just put some darker color less, just like earlier, and I can turn on the data labels. X-axis also I can turn it off so that I do not require it, right? And title I can just middle align it, and I hope this could help me out. So if you want to make sure that this particular y-axis values are aligned, you just increase the maximum width of it so that I can just decrease it to the possible extent, just like this. Okay, so let me figure out few more visuals which could be helpful. For example, okay, let me create something called as modeling parameter where it could help us to change this particular visual by using different columns, right? For example, I can go to modeling, click on this new parameter, click on fields. Here I can implement this parameter. Okay, and you can give some random name. I'll just keep it like that. From promotion, you can bring promotion name. From sales product, you can bring this brand name. From product category, product subcategory, you can bring the product category as well as product subcategory, right? So these things you can just try to create a parameter. You add a slicer, right? Click on create. So you have some slicer like this where I can go to settings. I can just make it as a vertical drop down, right? And also here I can just turn off the background. I can turn, or you could say I can highlight the title. Or you can just even turn it off to keep it simpler, right? So now what happens is this particular slicer, it won't work directly. So all what you need to do is you need to make sure that you select this particular visual, go to build, and here instead of promotion name, I can go to parameter, select that particular parameter. Right now, if you see this, I can just select this particular one. I can just select the brand name, right? Product category and product subcategory, right? In this way, we can just try to customize all the necessary information. So in order to make it little better, so what we can do is we can just try to little customize it. This thing we can make it as a tile so that okay. So I hope it is better. I can click on this promotion name. Now I'm able to change this particular different columns and values, right? And here we are left with one more thing, which where I'll take this particular column chart, right? Suppose we have some channel related information where I can bring this channel name and I can bring the total sales as well as total profit. Okay, this thing what I'll do is I'll just try to channel name into x-axis, total sales into y-axis, total profit into y-axis, and also total quantity I can bring into line y-axis. Turn on this particular data labels, right? You can click on the markers if needed, right? You can customize that a little. Maybe you can just turn off the background, right? You can just turn off that particular y-axis values and title. Values you can keep it, title I can turn it off. X-axis title I do not require. Here I can just mention channel wise sales, profit and quantity. I can just keep it middle aligned. Right. So the values they are appearing appropriately only and we can just try to keep it like that. If you want, you can just highlight that particular title here on the top. Right. So I hope it is fine. If you want, you can bold it a little so that it is appropriate, right? Okay. So I hope it is understandable. Okay. So in this way, you'll be able to customize your, or you could say do some analysis related to sales and and with respect to region as well, right? And if you could like to explore more about time intelligence functions, you could just play with that functions related to date and time, and then you'll be able to do multiple analysis, right? So what I can do is in order to navigate easily between these two pages, I can just go to insert. I can click on this particular something called buttons, click on this page navigator, right? I can bring this particular page navigator here, right? In order to navigate, I can just copy this and I can just put it here as well, right? And in order to little customize it with respect to color, so what I can do is I can just click on this particular style. When it is selected, you can just keep it bold, right? And also this particular fill color, you can just keep it something like this color, right? Now if I just select particular control and press this one also you can just select it, style, go to style. When it is selected, you can just choose that particular fill color as blue one, right? Now if you see this, if you just press control and click on this region analysis, you can just click on that. If you press press control and select on that sales performance analysis, you can control that, right? So in this way you can just try to create a report based upon the sales data which you have, right? Do anyone have any queries so far, whatever we have seen? And you can just try to interact with the slicer depending on that details and everything. If you uncheck that, you'll be able to even if you select year wise, you'll be able to get that values changing, right? Okay, so far whatever we have discussed, do anyone have any queries? Raghavendra, Janardhan?
No, one quick question here. Like, what are other like custom charts which are not inbuilt charts in Power BI?
Of course, custom charts, like once you have your account, then you can just click on this more visuals, you can click on app source, and then you'll be able to find hundreds of custom visuals in the marketplace. Many of them, those you can see with blue tick, they are Microsoft verified, and you can use it like without any doubt. Other things, like maybe you might face some small issues, but you can still use. Few of them might be free, few of them might be paid, but you just need to try it out depending on the features available.
Right. This is from my that
Power
marketplace,
BI,
right?
Power BI marketplace, yes.
Right. Right. Okay.
Right. Any other queries, Raghavendra?
No, sir.
No. Okay. So this is all for today. Thank you for attending. Hope you learned something and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.